All right, let's look at the Seattle Seahawks, who had a really odd year last year. So, first year with a new head coach, and kind of early on, they were in the playoff hunt, but there was a point when it felt like they were going to win the division. They had swept the Arizona Cardinals when we kind of thought it was a two-horse race between those two teams, and then the Rams just got red hot at the end of the year. The Rams beating the Bills, which was kind of the one thing we didn't think would happen, and just screwed up all the scenarios. And then Seattle, who I think still did finish pretty strong, played the Vikings really tough. If they had won that game, they would have had a chance to make the playoffs. Ultimately fell just short, but did appear to be moving in the right direction as the season ended. If we look at where they ranked in terms of PFF grades, so it's Geno Smith continues to be one of the more underappreciated quarterbacks in the league. PFF really likes him though. They have the Seahawks the 7th highest graded passing team last year, 8th highest graded receiving team, so definitely can put the ball through the air. Seems like Geno Smith would be good for one just like horrendous mistake a game and then be lights out outside of that. So I like Geno Smith. I think he's a good quarterback on a reasonable deal. I think that helps your team. The offensive line, so it graded 26th in pass blocking, 24th in run blocking. Worth mentioning though, Abraham Lucas got injured. He's an all right tackle. Someone I think you trust back there, maybe not a star, but like a player, right? But losing him, they've really struggled there. They also need another guard. They have a solid guard, but I think getting a guard would be a priority this offseason. Rushing was good as well. Defense, I think, played better as the season went along, was kind of mediocre according to PFF in every category, but did play better as the season went along. New head coach, things are going to take time there, right? For cap space for Seattle, they're in a very unique situation. So first, only $6 million, actually negative $6 million this season, but then it balloons up to a huge number the next season. The reason for that, though, is they're going to have a lot of players they have to pay. They had that really good draft where they had a bunch of starters. Those guys are all going to be due in 2026. Geno Smith contract is going to be done. DK Metcalf's contract is going to be done. So a lot of players they will have to pay attention to and see if they want to re-sign or not. So, and they're going to want to re-sign those guys. To be honest, they probably can re-sign those guys with all of this money that they have. So honestly, I think they're in an okay spot, but that's just so you know, sometimes you see a big number and you're like, wow, they can get a lot of guys. Well, part of it is because they're losing a lot of guys. That's why the cap space will be big. Key free agents, really not a lot. Again, these are just the key guys, but Ernest Jones and Jerron Reed are the guys they would want to keep. I think they probably keep Jones and probably keep Reed too. Again, I know they have negative cap space, but you can make that work. You can push it down the road a little bit. You don't want to do that too much, right? And they have to be thinking when they worry about the cap about 2026 as well. You got to make sure you have both of these 2 years covered, kind of calculate how much money you think you're going to spend there and maybe save a little bit of extra just in case, someone ends up having a great year or something. But as a whole, I think especially Ernest Jones, they gave up a draft pick for him. Feels like they would want to keep him for another year. There are some players they could decide to get rid of if they wanted to, whether it's a cut or a trade. You could, I still like Tyler Lockett, but there's a lot of teams could use a receiver. Do you consider maybe trading him away, getting a draft pick back, and then using that draft pick on his replacement, even if that might not be as good of a player? It's an option on the table. Draymond Jones, Noah Fant, and Roy Robertson Harris, other guys they could decide to get rid of if they wanted to. Again, they don't have to, but like for example, Noah Fant, he's going to be a free agent in that 2026 year that I'm talking about anyway. So maybe you just say 1 year left of Noah Fant at $9 million. Maybe we just move off of him now and save that money, help us out for down the road. It's an option you could, have on the table if you want. So that's kind of where Seattle is at right now, which is they can't really make a ton of massive moves. Draft pick wise, they have what I never love with teams, which is under 7 picks. They only have 5 picks. Now, they do have at least their top 3 picks, but they don't have their 4th or 5th round picks. So the 4th one's still from the Leonard Williams trade. So no worries about that. You feel pretty good about how that worked out for you, but ultimately you do no longer have that pick. So not a ton of draft picks to be able to build this roster. The good news is they're a pretty good team, I think. I would like to see them add a guard, whether that's through free agency or through the draft. I think adding a guard could really help complete that offensive line, and you could go from having a good offense to like a great offense, and you could maybe get some of that inconsistency out as well. And then I think just, again, another year of having these young players play in this system defensively, that's probably the move. That's probably how you get to where you want to be. So, yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on the Seattle Seahawks. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And, of course, as always, thanks for watching.